Good evening, Happy New Year, and welcome back. We're back. I'm back this evening. Been on a little hiatus for a minute, but I'm retooled and got two guests with me this evening. One of whom is a friend of mine that I know, another of whom I just met, and I think that's a good thing because I'll get to learn more about him, as will you. As you know, my goal here is to inform and sometimes entertain. Speaking of entertaining, this guy back here with the cowboy hat on, I thought you was a mafia hitman, to tell the truth.
You never know. You never know.
Well, play a little song for us, Karl. I've never done that before.
Okay. This song is called The Midget Cafe, and I might ask you to sing at some point. So just
Me?
Be ready.
Not me.
I'll join you.
I can't carry a tune with a suitcase.
I was sitting there having my supper. of turkey and bacon and beans, drinking up all of my coffee with plenty of sugar and cream. I looked and I saw two lovers having themselves a good time. They didn't pay much attention, but everyone knew their kind. You never know what's coming, it could be a friend or a foe. Some people they just come in running, and some people they come in real slow. I'll always remember that evening, two lovers laughing away. They didn't know it was coming, that night at the Midget Cafe. That night at the Midget Cafe. And in walks the husband and sees them having their fun. The wife begins to panic, cause she knows he carries a gun. And he pulls out his pistol and gives them a piece of his mind. He points it at the wife's lover, who knows he's now on a bind. You never know what's coming, it could be a friend or a foe. Some people they just come in running, and some people they come in real slow. I'll always remember that evening, two lovers laughing away. They didn't know what was coming, that night at the Midget Cafe. That night at the Midget Cafe. The wife reached out for the pistol to try and pull it away. She didn't know it was loaded, and it took her life that day. The husband stood there frozen, he didn't know what to say. He didn't know it was coming, that night at the Midget Cafe. You never know what's coming, it could be a friend or a foe. Some people they just come in running, and some people they come in real slow. I'll always remember that evening, two lovers laughing away. They didn't know it was coming, that night at the Midget Cafe. That night at the Midget Cafe. Sing it with me, sing it. You never know what's coming, it could be a friend or a foe. Some people they just come in running, and some people they come in real slow. I'll always remember that evening, two lovers laughing away. They didn't know it was coming, that night at the Midget Cafe. That night at the Midget Cafe.
So wasn't just midgets in the cafe that night. It was some stuff going on. Speaking
Song
of
was
which,
written by myself and my friend Charles Gorgano.
you wrote that song? You and your friend Charles?
Charles Gorgano. Yeah.
Oh,
He's actually from Texas, but he lives in L.A.
You played it in any cafes in Austin since you've been here?
This is the first time I've ever played that in front of people. So I owe it to you. Thank you.
No problem. Might get, of course, Karl, you and I, we go back a few years now. Chivas, I just met this evening, and that's Chivas, not Chivas as in Chivas Regal. It's Chivas Watson. It's good to have you on the show, man.
I appreciate it, brother. Nice
You
to be here.
referred to us by Latrice, right?
Latrice.
You know, that's one of my good.
My queen sister, Latrice. I call her Miss Latrice, though.
That's one of my friends, one of my true friends on the planet.
Yeah. She's somewhat of a surrogate auntie for me. She doesn't mind having the hard conversations. She doesn't mind telling me when I'm wrong. She doesn't mind supporting me.
She's a soldier on the battlefield.
She's a soldier on the
straight.
battlefield.
She's straight. And she ain't always easy.
No. She'll make it tough, but she'll make it tough for you to learn the lesson. You know.
Yeah.
She's a good woman.
Chivas, tell us about yourself.
Okay, and I try not to
I
be.
know we talked earlier. You said you were from New Orleans, right?
Born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. And it's interesting. People will say, "What part of New Orleans?" Well, my mother and father were both born and raised in New Orleans, so I encompass the entire city. My mother's from Uptown, reared in the 7th Ward, attended St. Bernard High School. My father is from Marrero, attended a private school called Shaw. My mother and father, like many of our black households these days, because of course Solomon tells us in the scriptures, nothing is new under the sun. What once was will always be. So the same broken homes that we had back then in the late 80s, I think we still have. My mother and father split, although they'll always tell me I was made in love and Sometimes I can close my eyes and remember the smiles, you know. My father absolutely loved my mother, and my mother adored my father. They must have split in 89 and 90. And inherently, I stayed with my father in Atlanta. My mother went back to New Orleans to get some stuff together, then I moved back to New Orleans. And I was in the city until 1996.
In New Orleans?
Yeah, my mother decided, see, my mother, as much as she liked to party and be out there and,
New Orleans is the place to do that.
you know, be with the sisters, she knew that there was a void there that she couldn't give me, and that was my father. So my father was doing all right in Atlanta, and I moved back. Went right up I-10 through Birmingham and got to Atlanta and did my 4th and 5th grade out there. And I can remember being back home for the summer in 1998. And my father called me and said, "We're moving to Austin." And I said, "Where?" I said, "Austin?" I said, "Daddy, you mean Houston?" Because at that time, that's really what I knew, Houston and Dallas.
Well, that was the hot spot.
I was a Dallas Cowboys fan, and Clyde Drexler was the man when I was coming. I mean, I was a Mike Jordan fan, but I used to like the ones that wasn't so much at the top too. And Clyde was a good brother. Hakeem was as well. And my second cousin, my daddy's first cousin, Roxy, graduated from Tulane and moved to Houston to establish a business. So that was paramount. I didn't know what Austin was. But I can remember at that time, at the little day camp I was in, and the apartments that my grandmother lived in the Ninth Ward, there was a big map, a world map. And unfortunate for me at the time, the world map reflected all the capital cities. So I knew I had seen Austin somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved here in 1998 to the northwest side of town. I attended Deer Park Middle School. My father came here by way of Dell Computers, and back then there wasn't too many black folks at Dell, but for the black and Latinos that were there, they considered them to be in the pathway of Dellionaires. Because my father was a smart brother and a frugal brother. We saved money, we downsized to a smaller apartment while we built a house in Forest Creek in Round Rock. So I went to Hopewell Middle School for 8th grade and then Stony Point High School. And long story short, we moved in the middle of my junior year to Colorado Springs, Colorado. I graduated in May 05 and ran back to Texas to attend Baylor University. I was there from 05 to 09. It was there where I guess I stopped listening to my daddy. I started thinking that I had the answers, and
That's when you knew everything, huh?
that's when I knew everything, and I didn't know a thing about the truth. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know a thing about our heritage and where we come from. I didn't know a thing about. I might have been told something, but it wasn't so paramount in my mind how to have such a great relationship and a respectful relationship with the sisters. And nowadays I'm working on that. So it's been a road, but it's been one I've learned a lot. There's a brother of mine that told me a loss is never a lesson learned as long as you learn from the lesson. So I keep that paramount. Austin, I do call home, but New Orleans will always be home. My family still remains there. And I did 5 years in Waco just about, so I've been back here since January 2010. And when I came back to Austin, although I was back and forth down 35, when I came back in 2010, Austin, you have to imagine, was a different city than when I first left. So.
Tell us this, what kind of work you do? Community work of some sort. You must
Absolutely.
do community work of some sort if you know Latrice, because that like seems to
It
me,
wasn't until I
she
got
seems
so
to be a
deep into
magnet
the
for,
community work that I met Latrice.
When I first started doing volunteer work for the Travis County Republican Party, I ran into Latrice. They were having a Black Area Resource Organization meeting at the that store. Cliff is the Victory. They were having a meeting there.
Cliff Gilliam.
And Cliff and Latrice had gotten into a heated argument, and all sounded like they were about to get into a fight. Boy, this is crazy. But that's where I met her, and then I found out what it was she did. I've had her on the show a couple of times because she tries to help guys who've been incarcerated before,
Absolutely.
and the families try to help the guys who've been
Help provide
incarcerated
resources.
get back on their feet and
Absolutely.
help them along with the families.
Absolutely.
And ever since then, we've just been pretty close friends.
Okay.
How's it that you, because she's the one who told you about us. You told us about the show today.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I'm just a brother.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody special. Women tell me I look handsome, and Rachel tell you I go around and tell them I'm ugly these days. I'm just a brother. But
I'm just a guy.
Yeah, just a guy, Jag. Just
Right.
another guy.
Just a guy.
So I'm definitely just another guy. But I've had a unique trajectory thus far. So it makes me a bit different, I think, and just fine with that. I play marketing executive at a printing company during the day, Trias Digital Printing, in the 78758 area. But then every other minute and second of the day, I'm doing something of service.
We spoke earlier about before the show about your interest in the east side of Austin and what's happening over there.
Absolutely, I see commonalities.
The reason I bring that up, Chivas, is this. When I started doing the volunteer work for TCRP, my goal was to try to awaken and bring awareness to my brothers and sisters who lived on the east side about what, in a sense, what the Republican Party could working with them could do.
Absolutely.
They didn't have horns and things. James and I used to joke about that. And I used to have meetings at Sam's Barbecue.
Okay, yeah, back in the day.
No, we had those meetings like in the last couple of years.
Ah, okay.
We've had a Republican Party kickoff function over there. Carl's eating over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carl, I think I've seen you over there before.
Really?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. In the past 9 months, I'd say my colleagues and I, we've become daily patrons of Sam's Barbecue, just trying to help establish the business as a not forgotten entity. But
Well, my thing was, it was my belief. I only found out about Sam's Barbecue. I had seen it across the street from Marsh from the barbershop,
yeah,
right?
no doubt.
But Cheryl Cole was going to run for office, and she had a press conference there. And I, out of curiosity, I just went, I wonder what's over there. So I went over there, and I tasted that barbecue, and I've been going there ever since. And I've been telling all my friends and acquaintances about it.
Okay.
I try to
Well,
get
good for
them
you.
because I believe it's important for not just for us to patronize our brothers and sisters' business, but to get others to patronize the business also.
Absolutely. I agree with
Because
you.
I thought that it was crucial.
Absolutely.
And I thought it was crucial to try to establish a point of reference for those who think conservatively.
Absolutely.
There's a place to meet. And I always figured it's the last place they expect to find us. But that's where
Sounds
you
like you were
need
just putting your brick in.
No, where you need to go where you aren't. That's my idea of coming from Ohio to Texas.
Yeah, for sure. Like
Everybody's going to Atlanta. Everybody's going east. I'm gonna go west. I'm gonna go down here where no one's going.
Yeah.
You're crazy, man. Man, the white people down there.
And now we still got you.
Yeah, they up here too. So, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
You south of Canada, north of Mexico. Hey, it's all the same as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Because we're all in one America, and that's that's always interested and confused me about some people. They talk and sometimes act like they aren't Americans.
Yeah.
If anybody's an American, it's us.
We built the infrastructure
Right.
of this country.
It was built on our
So
backs.
if anybody deserves
Period.
citizenship and the right for the civic rights and the justice and the freedom and equality, it's our brothers for sure.
I was in a conference with some people this afternoon, and I guess the gist of the conference was, everyone's on the hate Trump thing, and the thing is, when Trump says America first, I don't think he means just white people in America first. He says America first. He didn't delineate between the two.
Mm.
And so, to me, it's as though we're competing. It's as though they would have these immigrants be like the new people to be used as slaves were used.
Mm. It's interesting you say that.
And that's and I don't whether it's true. I believe that's the truth. But whether you view it that way or not, the idea that they can be viewed that way is something that we should be aware of.
We should be aware of. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The other thing you said interesting before the show was, you said just watch a couple of my shows, especially the one with the Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of my favorite guys.
Yeah, all praises to the brothers.
Because they're for real.
All praises. All praises to the Most High for those brothers coming your way and not getting angered at the difference in opinion or the difference in spiritual views. You know, the brother that sat in the middle, not the brother that read in the speaker, but the brother in the middle. I know that brother.
Oh, you do?
We've
I think Yahtazak was in the middle.
Yeah, Yahtazak. We've shared a couple of train rides together.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah. Strong brother. You know, we've got a few differences in what we deem as what's right for Israel, but still thankful to have the brother know his heritage and know enough to want to edify others.
So you remember that group also?
They are considered ISUPK.
ISUPK.
That's a different camp within the Israelite, you might say, world. You know, I hail from the Israel United in Christ camp, and that's headquartered out of the Bronx in Orlando, Florida. My brother and I, he goes by Yaziah Ben Israel now. He and we initiated a camp here in 2011.
Yeah.
Israel United in Christ camp.
In Austin?
Here in Austin, absolutely. Here in Austin.
That's different from IS.
It's different.
Okay.
Much like Greater Mount Zion
Mm-hmm.
and Mount Sinai,
Okay.
almost. You know, still preaching the Christian religion, but Reverend, Pastor Mays does it a little bit different than Pastor Clark.
Right.
So
Right.
I'd say that's the difference. But they also have some stark differences in what we believe. We believe in the scripture as it is, as the brother Clifford had told you once ago, and they have a few differences. But it's all love. It's all love for the brothers.
What do you feel that that can be done best to try to help others in the community, particularly on the east side?
It's interesting you say that. We got a little ahead. I'll introduce myself to the crowd as most importantly, I'm an independent advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Some say activist, this and that, but I'm an independent advocate. I remotely work with grassroots leadership. Through grassroots leadership, a member of Texas Advocates for Justice, Austin membership, Decarcerate ATX. I am an advocate with the Texas Civil Rights Project, the Texas After Violence Project, the Texas Fair Defense Project. I'm an organizer with the Poor People's Campaign, an organizer with the Anti-Gentrification Task Force here in the city that's comprised of me, Rachel, and several esteemed, young, hungry individuals here in the city of Austin that aren't just black, We reflect the colors in the Crayola block. But then I'm also a brother and an advocate with Indie Austin, Change.org. I'm on two collectives here called Abolish ICE and Shut Down Huddle. And Rach, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm getting old, but I'm proud to be the only man involved with Black Mamas ATX, our Black Mamas Community Collective here, which is a platform that we're establishing here in Austin to have a network of black women that can help each other.
So do you work along with other community groups also, with all these affiliations that you have?
As if you walked with me through the streets, you'll find I'm one of the few that is welcome in many different community groups. So it's not just the East Side; it's also the Rumberg area. It's what we're trying to do here in Austin is bring connectivity throughout the communities because, truthfully, black folks are not just on the East Side any longer. So if we can have some of those hard conversations, if we can bring some of those stakeholders to the table, maybe have a racial analysis, a power analysis, get everybody to deem what equity is, we can see that we have commonalities within our demographic. The black, Latino,
had you had the opportunity to meet the equity officer that was hired by
absolutely,
Austin?
Mr. Brian Oakes.
I got get him
Solid brother,
right.
solid brother,
Well,
and
yeah.
he's got a wonderful colleague as his business development manager per se. That's her title, I think, but she's like the all everything, Kelly Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
And Kelly lives on the east side. She's from Dove Springs, and together they're doing a lot to try to bring the city together. As you know, the Equity Office holds quarterly Undoing Racism training. So I jump around with a lot of that. So I'll go back to your question. What do you think? What do I think we need to do to help improve the morality or the mindset of those on the east side, or just
probably what you can do to improve the mindset, the quality of life.
The quality of life, absolutely.
Which is what it's really all about.
Absolutely.
For a while, I was on that African American Resource Advisory Commission, which they called.
With Brother Nelson,
that long.
KT.
I was on there with KT and Nelson.
Yeah, for sure. I've been in a couple of their meetings. I think first and foremost, here on the east side, we need to start speaking with truth. What's been the errors here on the east side? What have we not done on the east side? Mm-hmm. Who have we allowed on the east side that has forgotten what the east side was to blacks and Latinos and poor white folks? I think we need to speak with the truth. The truth. The generation before us didn't leave a blueprint for East Austin. For brothers like Clarine and myself and other brothers that are in the late 20s, 30s, they didn't give us guidelines to follow. That might be because a lot of brothers were in federal penitentiary or Dale Valley or in TDC. So I think if we get back into speaking about truth or standing for truth, we can have those hard conversations to bring us closer together. I think the East Side needs to be a spot for educational empowerment. As we know, the education level on the east side of 35 is different from the west side of 35. The school books are different. The textbooks are different. The teachers, they seem to care a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Brother, if you were to go to Anderson High School, over there off of Mesa, on the northwest side of town, different books than what you got at Lentini, and I guarantee it. But then you've also got a different care and concern from your administration and your teachers. It seems like when kids are in a better mood, or they've got better things, or there's that privilege that makes them happy at school, teachers are eager to teach them better.
Do you find that the resources are disproportionately distributed on east versus west, let's say?
I don't know if it's east versus west, or it's underperforming institutions that they allow to continue underperforming by giving them old editions or not exactly what they've asked for, or what they need in terms of educational concepts
in terms of resources.
And resources, yeah.
I know that when I was growing up, it seemed like centuries ago, I grew up in a place called Lincoln Heights, which was 100% black folks. Mm-hmm. And we had a school district.
That's North Cincinnati, or?
Yeah, right outside Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. I've been there once.
The real black capital of the United States. And I know that when we used to get books to use, I got a feeling that those books were books that schools like Wyoming, Locke, and others were throwing away.
They were throwing away. Because
we would get books and we already did the thing where you fill in the name and all that. Yeah. It's all full, and we smack a new one over and put our name on it.
I know the same. I have the same experience. Not when I got to Round Rock Independent School District, but when I was in Atlanta, in the Marietta School District, our books were different than those in Smyrna on Warner Roberts. It was just different. It was like they were getting newer books.
Yeah.
More colorful books, more colorful pages, and it seemed to be more diverse. But the truth was, we just had the old editions, the throwaways.
Right.
But very much so, the textbooks that tell us the lies or omit the truth. Mm-hmm. For instance, growing up, I would hear about the Civil War, but I knew that they weren't telling the truth about the Civil War because I'm from the deep South. So I'd say there's something. I go back to my father and say there's something missing here. Now he tell me you need to study so you can get an A on that test. But we'd also have those conversations, he, my grandmother, and I, about what's missing out of the textbook. So I see the same thing here. I've got colleagues where their kids
Same
at
thing here
in Austin.
in 2019.
The education at Metz, Sanchez, and Zavala Elementary, right here on the east side, is considered to be of sacrifice. Just like Norman Elementary and Sims Elementary. Considered to be of sacrifice. If the kids don't shuck and jive or the parents don't show up for this, it's not just about the education at those schools. But when we go to Murchison, we go to McCallum, you go to some schools in the Brentwood area, in the Arboretum area. Those schools are about education first, man. I've lived northwest for a while in Will Davis Elementary off of Duval in 183. They're about education, about discipline, about standards. And that's a complete different type of education than maybe the kids get at the elementary schools in the Rumberg area. But as you can see, they're very close. Why different education?
Okay, so it's a different commitment.
Different commitment.
It seems to me.
Different commitment.
I got a question. Who decides those things?
School board?
Yes, Texas has a few different departments within the realm of what a school board is. You know, they got the Texas Education Board. They've got the Association of, I think, Public Schools. I mean, they've got all these different things where people get to, you know, kind of bid for the kind of textbooks or the kind of
the contracts and
the
things
kind
like
of stuff that they want. You know.
So it's not just the city.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say
it's
the same dichotomy that you find in the education here in Austin, you find it in Harris County, you find it in Dallas County. Like Jack Yates in Houston, as great as they are in sports and as hard as our brothers and sisters work to achieve at that school, they're not getting the same education as Forest North or Sci-Fair or. And sure enough, the demographics are a tad different. The MFI, the median family income is a bit different. But at the same rate, if the education was the same, maybe we'd have more continuity in those communities. Maybe people wouldn't be so afraid to come from Cyprus to Third Ward. Maybe if the education was the same. So I do think here in East Austin, we need to make educational empowerment a necessity and a priority. The kids at LBJ, they're getting a different education from upstairs and downstairs. And all you gotta do is talk to the parents and they'll tell you that. So we've got to find some consistency among neighborhoods in our schools here. We have to continue holding the Austin Independent School District accountable. We have to continue pressing very hard on the school board trustees, so that we can possibly smooth out these creases and get our kids back into a day where maybe you remember, but I definitely remember, where we enjoyed going to school, we enjoyed learning. We enjoyed going to the teacher because it seemed like they gave us a break from mama and daddy. And that might have been a finesse to us as kids, but what that showed me when I became a man, that there was connectivity between my parents and the teacher. The teacher may be nicer, well, my daddy might be tougher, but see, the standard is still the same. So, I couldn't ignore homework at home and then ignore homework at school. But now, my I don't have any biological children, but I have been a father to a son for the last 5 or 6 years. And Malik was at Jolie Johnson in the Round Rock Independent School District. They had iPads. They had interactive ideas. They were taught to think and believe. He's now at Travis Heights, right off of Congress, South Congress, and unfortunately, my boy gets discipline reports weekly. And my boy is sweet as pie, but there's a disconnect.
It sounds like
there's a disconnect.
In one instance, there's more interest in education and stimulation of the mind, and on the other hand, there's more interest in just social control.
I would have to agree.
And if the emphasis is social control as opposed to education, then those on the social control side are being shortchanged and being deprived.
Absolutely. I'd agree with you there.
That's what it seems like.
So with education, I think we beat the head there. I think here on the east side, we need to get back into a space where we assess and identify what are basic needs. For instance, you being an attorney, you very well know around the city people are crying out for housing. Now, housing, between you, myself, and Karl, housing could be you have a house, Karl has a loft, I got a studio. That's housing. We need to get back into the basic idea of things, because where housing could be different, shelter is the same. Shelter, whether you've got the loft, you've got the house, I've got the studio. We've all three got that commonality and a roof over our head, and that is shelter. So if we would on the east side get back into adhering to basic standards, we wouldn't get lost in translation between private aim and fiscality.
Well, it seems to me that as a matter of the policies that come out of city council or wherever, that they're more geared to 2 men and a dog, or 2 women and a dog, or whatever, a man, a woman, and a dog, or whatever, rather than to
two struggling
family parents with children.
Right.
It's like parents with children aren't on the radar screen.
As we in this community here, you can't literally push families out. I mean, that's what they're doing, but we see it in a symbolic, mythological way, in a policy initiative kind of way, not necessarily physically pushing, but on this side of town, you can see it between right here. People are holding on for their homes, but they're surrounded by the new age couple that enjoys walks in the park and bike lanes and going to the green belt.
And then that's who's being catered to.
And that's who's being catered to on the east side.
And in a sense, to me, politically, what's insane is the people who are being affected by gentrification are voting to support those who pushing it. Come on now. It's almost like a wake up and see what you're doing kind of thing.
The disenfranchisement is profound, and we saw that in a very severe way here in East Austin this year. We had people who were just whether it be proud or they were satisfied or they were ready to simply vote. Now, I think we do need people to vote, but I think we need people to know what they're voting for, especially in these days where we've got a conflicted, embattled mayor.
Well, to me, those in the, let's say, the black community need to vote their interests, not their feelings.
Not their feelings. And I think
I like so and so. So what?
But know nothing about so and so's morality, know nothing about so and so's professional background. Just say, oh, they sing and they dance real well. They look like me. I like that. I'm going to double tap that and like that on Facebook. Now I'm going to go vote for them. But that's what we have in District 1 with Natasha Harper Madison as our city councilman, a city councilwoman or whatever she wants to be, because the sister never had a job.
Is that who succeeded Or Houston?
The sister never had a job. When you get into her background, you find that she's lied about A, B, C, D, and E, about where she's lived, about her romanticism with her ex-husband or whomever, the money that she's getting, everything about her. But because black folks did not assess the season of voting, when we were left in a runoff with just a black woman and a Latina woman, we did not see the Latina woman as a more solid candidate, a more loving mother, somebody who was a liaison. The black folks were like, we just need somebody black.
Right.
We just need somebody black. But what if she was?
That's what I heard a lot of.
But she's the epitome of the wrong person in office. But people are satisfied because she's just black. So it's sheer ignorance, to be honest.
So it's education and information.
So people need shelter here on the east side, and I don't know if it's just build more communities or show up for more people that are screaming for housing vouchers or for Section 8 or for help, but I think there's money in the general bond where you could establish tiny home communities. You could build more homeless shelters. You could address shelter on the east
Well,
side.
they'll sure come up with money for a bicycle lane in a minute. You know that.
But the bicycle lane, they're working on one right now, probably. Because they're trying to make this connectivity from Dale Valley to here with that hike and bike trail. And then by that time, the only brothers that will be over here are you on Monday nights and whatever brothers are working for the city, whatever sisters are working for the city.
And maybe Sam's barbecue.
No, not
You don't think
unfortunately, not Brian.
I think Brad.
I don't think he got too much more time. But so shelter. I think food insecurity is a heavy issue east of 35. When you assess Slaughter Lane to Wells Branch, you find that these communities are incredibly residential, and out of all these residents, they might have one grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were to travel right now up 183 and go to Break-In Jollyville, you've got an H-E-B, a Randall's, a Sam's, a Costco, a Whole Foods, an H-E-B at Spicewood Springs. You've got a Whole Foods at the Domain. Why is that? Is that community more popular or more populated than the East Side? God forbid. They have the privilege.
Mm-hmm.
Food insecurity. We've literally got our Latino demographic living on top of each other from Ortorf all the way to Slaughter Lane. Hell, all the way to maybe San Antonio. I mean, you got to go through Converse, so I won't say that. But from Ortorf to Slaughter Lane, our Latinos are very proud to stay where they've been. But they're living on top of each other almost. The traffic is so severe. And they don't have enough grocery stores to go to. They've got H-E-B at Riverside. You've got Walmart at 71. You've got Fiesta at Stastny.
Yeah.
You've got H-E-B at William Cannon. And you got Walmart over on Slaughter Lane. To service all those people.
Mm-hmm.
We need the city. We need better leadership in the city, one, but we need the leadership in the city to say, damn, okay, well, where can we pull to assist this community in getting away from the food insecurity? Because those are desperate measures that'll make somebody steal or make somebody forget or make somebody neglect what they need to do. So food insecurity, I think it's time that we decrease the amount of Austin Police Department patrol on the east side of 35. Now, that's tricky, right? Mm-hmm. Because we don't want the vice to get so high or the behavior to get so reckless that we got to call them right back. But the truth is, the relationship is so broken and fractured, whether you black, Latino, or white, east of 35, they don't trust or like the police, that we now need to institute community police. Trusted members of the community that know the business owners, know the small business owners, know the interfaith individuals, know the mothers and the fathers, and they can be your first responders. We need something else rather than APD, white APD officers, or even worse, your black APD officers running into communities that they don't know and that don't know them, and that makes a police officer that more keen on pulling that trigger, or that makes that brother or that sister more keen on saying, fuck the police.
You know what
For the cursing, I'm so sorry.
When I look at this situation in a global sense, it seems to me at the foundation of everything is we need to address the needs and concerns of the black family, which is partly what the Trees does in part.
For sure, but I don't think, and black folks, they can hate me for this, but come to me and say something. We cannot only care about black people and not care about Latinos.
Right.
A black man will be proud to be from Texas, Longhorns, Dallas Cowboys, everything, and forget that this was Mexico before it was ever Texas. So you must have connectivity with your Latino brother. You must.
You can't have a thing of so-called black versus brown, that kind of.
You can.
That kind of.
We literally go through the same thing, as you said it. Our immigrants now are being used as new slaves. The black man doesn't even look at himself as an immigrant. He thinks this is his country. He thinks this is his country and Latinos are just running here to take his jobs. But truthfully, those are jobs you didn't want to work, black man. Mm-hmm. Those are labor concepts that you didn't think were in your path. So we are in a state that inherently was Mexico. But then after it was turned into Texas, you have your Latino man and woman that are the pulse of damn near every industry. So I can't be pro-black and not be pro-Latino. But I also can't be pro-black, pro-Latino and not be pro-poor folks. I know poor white folks out here that are hated by their own.
So you see it more as an economic thing rather than a racial thing.
No, I definitely see it as a racial thing, but I think economics has to do with it. Because if you can keep certain races, certain ethnicities behind for so long, they never have the economic empowerment, we can use that word, to even catch up.
They don't have the wherewithal to catch up.
They don't have the wherewithal to catch up. So
the means aren't there.
I think it's double-edged.
And quiet there, Karl. What's going on?
What's going on?
You got another song that you wrote?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me hear that.
Okay, and now a song.
What's this?
This is a song called Whiskey and Wine. All right. Also written by my friend Charles and I.
Whiskey and wine?
Whiskey and wine.
Whiskey and Wine.
That sounds like you're getting a lot of people in trouble here now.
Who's that? Somebody had heard about whiskey and...
Became an old man ahead of my time on account of my whiskey and wine. Drinking and dancing and having my fun. Now that I'm lonely, the damage is done. Wasting my time drinking my whiskey and wine. Throw me a line, give me a sign. Somebody said it's gonna be on your head.
I can hear that.
Breaking your vows, breaking your pledge. My old lady has set me aside, put me to pasture because I had lied. We had wonders and dreams and good times, but we lost it to whiskey and wine. Wasting my time drinking my whiskey and wine. Throw me a line, give me a sign. Somebody said it's gonna be on your head. Breaking your vow, breaking your pledge.
I saw you smiling.
I did. Whiskey and wine.
And you weren't sure you could bring your guitar.
So moreover, I think we, I don't know, cause it kind of changes right there. Like if I say I think black folks need more stuff for black folks, then I know that'll probably turn a pathway where black folks get so damn greedy and selfish that it's only about them. Latinos as well. We need more. I'll put it to you like this, Miss Ora and I, we were canvassing Gibbons Park earlier this year in the summer. And I had already staged it because I knew she was going to be there to have brothers bum rush her. And not bum rush her to risk her safety or anything like that. But to have that hard conversation with her, like, hey, we're here, we're patrons, we hear about the proposed changes to the park. These are our thoughts. Out of that kind of conversation came Ms. Ora saying, well, how about we have one of those job fairs that you have been discussing? So in Gibbons Park, we had, and I don't want to say the first ever, but it was definitely one of its kind, a fair chance hiring re-entry job and resource fair at Gibbons Park, right in the belly of the beast. We need more concepts like that that can tie a knot. Sure, maybe one of the organizers, proud black brother, you think I speak with the voice of Malcolm and Khalid Muhammad? All praises if you think that. But then I could drag in the brothers, but I might be so remiss of where women are these days that I need Rachel to bring women to talk to women about it. We need events that are diverse in nature, but they still adhere to the standard of the demographics and their needs. Again, so that if we come to this concept, we see, damn, we're facing the same plight. The property taxes go up 8% annually in the city of Austin. I don't care if you're purple. It's hard to sustain here in Austin if you're not making $80,000 a year. The cost of living is upwards of $26.87. We need more things that are diverse in nature and bring forth the connectivity between the demographics so that we can get to know each other first name basis. Kids see, oh, white guy and his wife over there. Well, yeah, I know Zach because Zach goes to school with my kid. That gives us a reason to have that conversation. Now on the east side, you see a white parent, they're like, I ain't talking to them. They don't give a damn. They're trying to push me out. When truthfully, you do have white folks over here that just moved here. They didn't know what was going on. There wasn't any smoke signals. They just moved where they saw was advantageous for them. And now they're stuck in the middle of being hated, but also wanting to advocate for those that they, feel like they have been a part of hurting.
Caught up in some mess.
Caught up in some mess, simply put. We need more, how can I say it, man? We need better leadership in East Austin, all the way around. The NAACP, the Urban League, some of these other groups, they have truly made a profit off of our suffering. We need them to come and atone for what they've done in the communities. And, nobody can say you can't repent and atone. So, just repent and atone and let's get back to doing the work together. Rather than you remotely do your work all year and make $100,000 or $80,000 and you doing it all so you can, and you know who I'm talking about, you can shake hands with Brian Manley and you can be of service to the city council member when we need you in the community because we need elders to believe again or we need black men to believe again. Brother Linda is nowhere to be found. So again, why do I need better leadership?
What the other thing? We need to get the churches back.
We need to get the churches back involved. It hurt my feelings when GMZ moved from right here off of Pennsylvania to over there off of Tanner Hill. Now, I still have love for that side of town because that's still the east side. That's still District 1. District 1 goes all the way to Harris Springs. But if you've turned from a building that holds 500,000 people to a Joel Osteen stadium-like seating while your constituents are struggling to get housing, you have your people say, well, how is the church growing?
We've got to do something. We've got to get the churches back in the community. We have to address something as far as the churches concerned.
We've got so many churches on the east side. It doesn't reflect how many black businesses we have on the east side.
Right.
But then again, like I say, we've got to bring some continuity between blacks, Latinos. We have to, and not so that we can fight the white man, but so that we can.
It's not about fighting anybody.
It's not about fighting. It's about getting back together and forming community,
and serving people that you
and
serving
people,
not
people,
fighting,
serving people, man, serving people. Let's fight the system. Let's not fight each other. I think I could be a little more specific. I think on the east side we need to press pause on the NFL. We need to press pause on the NBA. We need to press pause on the pop culture. We have artists here in Austin, whether it be recording artists or visual artists, that deserve the right to be honored and praised and make a little money off of their hard work. We've got power on the east side. We've got intellect on the east side. We've got talent on the east side. But if it's overshadowed because the big acts come here now in Austin or the big money is requested from these venues in Austin that have grown where the people haven't, then the homegrown talent or the homegrown ambition always.
Now, I've always thought, since I moved to Austin and learned a little bit about it, I've always thought that Houston Tillerson should be like an anchor.
Oh man,
for us.
Absolutely. we're very privileged to have Miss Colette right now.
anchor in terms of thought.
Yeah.
And I fear, my fear, I'll be in the ground by this time. 30 years from now, yeah, I'll still be around.
Let's hope so,
I
Lord's will.
got stuff to do, man.
Yeah, you look healthy, man.
My mom lived to be 102.
I hear that,
My
man.
grandma lived to be 114.
I hear that.
I'm just getting cranked
Brother
up.
Overton he was 112. So,
112.
so I think y'all brothers got the juice, man. I'm just trying to make it to 32.
It's the crank queen entrepreneur.
One day at a time,
One
bro.
day at a time. It's funny you said that. I think when I first moved here, HT was known to be a decent school, but HBCUs in general were not known to be great schools unless you were Howard, Morehouse, Spelman. Now HBCUs have a much more diverse perspective on the eye of the beholder, and people are not only accepting, but they know that you can go to an HBCU and get a solid education. I think we're privileged to have Miss Colette as the president at HT right now, because she is a sister that can stand in the middle and
I've had him on the show before.
bring forth different.
I've had Wayne on the show before.
And Wayne's a good brother. Now he ain't so sharp on responding to correspondence, but no, good brother. And I think they're doing all they can to make sure that they
He's from Cincinnati too.
Yeah, I think I had found that out when we had with this when I was introduced to him, because Miss Colette introduced me to him. Because I was trying to get HT to be a part of the job fair.
Okay.
I thought it was a damn shame that they weren't at the forefront of being a part of the job fair, but UT and St. Ed's and Alston Community College.
The way I see it is, when I was first started working with the RPT, the guy who was the RPT Black Engagement Director, he said, let's start with UT, and my thing was, no, let's start with HT.
Let's start with HT.
That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it.
Let's start with HT.
What we're trying to build.
There's people I know that drive by HT all the time.
Not jump on the
know.
bandwagon. Build.
Yeah, build. There's people that I know drive down Comal and Chacon all the time. Don't know HT sitting right there. Don't know.
I want to thank you, gentlemen, for being on the show. Carl, you have to come back and play some music one more time again.
All right, anytime.
I don't want to hear tequila with her makes her clothes come off either. Okay.
Clothes will stay on.
Yeah, keep your clothes on.
Right.
But thanks for being on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Got to get you back. I might